Comanche. Is it worth a buy? Let's read the words of the developer. Comanche is a modern helicopter shooter set in the near future. You have a choice to delve into the evolving single player and make a difference in a conflict of global proportions, or compete with other Comanche players from all around the world in the explosive team-based multiplayer modes. Before we start, guys, a quick look at the graphical options for this game, and I'll also have a quick look at the control options as well. There's not a great deal of options, to be honest with you. Very bare bones for a PC game. Yeah, epic, not epic, high. There you go. Not a lot really. Control wise, for a helicopter game, not really a huge amount of controls at all, to be honest. But this is Comanche. This is Comanche, guys. You can use a mouse keyboard, you can use a controller, and it does have a very hot-ass support. Although hot-ass support is still in the experimental phase and they are still developing that. Now, before people start comparing this to Apache Gunship, no, that's wrong. Apache Gunship from Microprose was nothing like Comanche. It really wasn't. The Microprose one was the simulator one, the one with a good keyboard overlay. Remember that? Now, Comanche was a separate game all on its own. It came out in 1992 with Comanche Maximum Overkill, which I bought, and I was just jaw wobbled at how awesome the graphics looked back then. And that went on with several other titles. I bought a few of them, not all of them. Comanche 3, Comanche 4 were memorable ones. I quite like Comanche 4. This is that staple of games. It isn't from the Apache Gunship kind of thing. Totally different types of games, play totally different as well. So if you're looking for some Apache Gunship nostalgia, there's nothing to see here at all. Now, this game was kind of pinned as a multiplayer game, but they've kind of started developing single player, and I think that was down to disgruntled customers, to be honest. I could be wrong, but it really doesn't matter, does it? I've completed the single player. It took me 2 hours, and that included a phone call, which went on for a while. Not from the developers. It was my son rang us. So you can probably do it in less than that. In fact, you can. I think I actually went for a shit at some point as well. Hey, I didn't time it, alright, but it's not long because there's only one mission. It has 5 different stages, but it's only one mission. There's more missions coming. There's a new mission coming in April apparently, and then there'll be a further mission after that. But that's all you're going to get for single player, which is very disappointing. It's especially disappointing when you look at how bad the multiplayer is in this. There's only 3 people playing at the moment. That's during the day, and last night I couldn't really find games until I waited 2.5 minutes, and even then there was only 4 people in them games. So before I go into single player and multiplayer in a bit more detail, let's actually look at the flight of this thing, because this is a big problem. I immediately grabbed my Cytec X52 Pro, plugged it in, dusted it off because there's not many games come out for it now, and was not surprised that it actually handled like a drunk hippo that had been smoking pot for a month non-stop. There's 3 different flight modes. I put it on expert, hoping that would work better. No, it's just all over the place. You get these rings to fly through. I just couldn't do it. I literally couldn't do it. I unplugged my X52 and just went mouse keyboard default. Flew through them, no problem at all. It's a mouse and keyboard control game, this. I then decided that because I'm using a mouse and keyboard, I'm going to put it off expert and put it onto normal. Not arcade. There's arcade, normal and expert. I put it onto normal mode, and I kind of got the hang of it after about 20 minutes, just flying all over the place. And I'm nowhere near as proficient as I should be, but you know, if I played it for another hour or so, then I'd get even better. You just get better as you're playing it, but I found with a mouse and keyboard, fine, absolutely fine. I could do pretty much what my brain had in mind. My hands kind of got the idea after a while. But it's the structure of the missions that's disappointing. This isn't as good as Comanche 4. It's just not as good as Comanche 4, and it's the mission structure is so boring. It's like you follow this boat, you kind of protect this boat, and you follow this boat through this kind of maze of mountains with clouds and shit. It looks nice. It looks really nice. And you'll come across some enemy ships which harder to beat than they were in Comanche 4. The scaling just felt a bit wrong compared to Comanche 4. The controls aren't as good as it was on Comanche 4, and I kind of suffered a bit for that. You can also go underwater. This is a submarine helicopter. I accidentally sunk it under the water when I was getting a bit too overconfident, expecting to instantly blow up, and all of a sudden I'm Jacques Cousteau. You know, the wonderful world of Jacques Cousteau. What the f***? I just increased collective and came flying out of the water like something from James Bond. Kind of weird. I did take damage when I was in the water, but I didn't die. And even if I did die, I would just restart it from a checkpoint, maybe 2 minutes earlier than when I died. No consequences whatsoever. The combat, you have a Gatling gun in the base helicopter, which is what I'm using. You can hold shift with your little finger on shift, and you get free look, and you can just like fire it anywhere you want, wherever you're aiming with the mouse. Obviously your helicopter's flying in the direction it was before you pressed shift, but you can just instantly let go of shift, make some adjustments, hit shift again, and just all this free look. It's really handy with a mouse and keyboard. You've got lock-on missiles, you've got flares, and you've also got a drone, which is rather neat. You have this drone that you can deploy to do some kind of nifty detective work, go in vents of buildings and take out stuff and deactivate stuff, which I thought was really good. I really enjoyed that until I got to the second part of the mission, which was the same as the first part. There's a few ships, there's a couple of helicopters, kill them, there's a building, send your drone in, disable that. Then I got to the third part, which was there's some ships, blow up the ships, there's some helicopters, blow up them, there's a building, send your drone in and disable this. Then there was the fourth part, which was there's some ships, you get the idea, guys. It was just rinse, repeat all the way through, and I was bored shitless. And I was quite happy that there was only one mission by the time I'd finished it, because it was just so boring, really. When you look at missions in the other Comanche games, they were way better than this. Now, I'm going to cut some slack to the devs, because I don't think this was intended as a single-player game, and so they've kind of had to throw that in. But that's only because the multiplayer is not great, because the multiplayer is about the same kind of stuff. You defend these areas, the enemy come in, if you shoot them down, you deploy your drone, go to their wreckage and nick the black box, score some points. If you're attacking, you might have to get your drone out to go and steal something. And it's so easy to get shot down, just a quick lock on, and you only get 3 flares, so you if you've used them, you can try and evade behind rocks, but it's not easy. So I found multiplayer. I got bored of multiplayer, guys. I've got to tell you, after about 10 minutes, absolutely piss bored. And these aren't the droids I'm looking for, I'm afraid. It's just, I found the game too boring. It needs work. It needs a lot of work. Now, it is in early access, and it's going to get work, so I can't bitch too much because it's early access. It's just come out in early access, but I'm not impressed, and I want it to be, because it looks really nice. And you know what? It flies nice with a mouse and keyboard, but I would have liked to have flown this with my X52 Pro, and I guess some people will be able to do it. I just couldn't, and I'm quite experienced with hot-ass. I have a lot of hot-ass experience. Now, also, there's a progression system in this. As you get more blueprints, which you pick up, I'm assuming, from multiplayer. I have 8, and I don't know how I got them, but I have 8, but that's not enough to unlock the next type of helicopter, which has a few better weapons. Some of them have cloaking devices and all of that. It's set in the future, But I didn't care that I couldn't unlock them, because what's the point of having really good state-of-the-art equipment if the environment you use it in is pretty dead and boring? I would have liked to see really big multiplayer games. That would have been fun, or really better structured single-player games. But unfortunately, it's dead on arrival in multiplayer as far as I'm concerned. There's just hardly anybody playing it, and the single player is a mess. It's just not that good. It's pretty boring. It needs way better missions than what it has. I don't know. I'm just going back. I mean, I am going to mention Apache Gunship. If you look at the missions in that, they were awesome. The missions in Comanche were better than this. I don't know. It's just why they thought that was a good that it's good to copy and paste the same kind of building over and over again with the same kind of mission and the same kind of enemies and the same kind of places. That's pretty much all you do. There's slight change to get a few mines and stuff, but that's it. And there was one cool bit where you take your helicopter into a James Bond villain's base, but that was it really. The rest of it, boring. I hope it gets a lot better. It's early days for this game. It's got a long way to go. I'll be looking at it again when it releases, and hopefully by then it'll have had refined missions, better controls on the hot ass, and a lot better multiplayer going on. So there you go, guys. At this minute in time, in early access, Comanche, although it's not expensive, I just don't think it's quite worth it yet.